Something unseen stirs in the world today, a force quietly pressing against the balance of life. God's anger is rising, subtle yet undeniable, and it is speaking to those who will listen. This is not punishment. It is a signal, a warning woven into the threads of our everyday choices, waiting for us to awaken before it becomes impossible to ignore. In this video, you will discover the hidden signs of divine displeasure that most people overlook. You will learn why ignoring these signals can lead not only to spiritual stagnation, but to an inner imbalance that quietly shapes every decision, every moment, every connection. Few understand the ways in which small misalignments ripple into greater consequences, quietly steering lives off their destined path. I will share ancient Shaolin wisdom and powerful mindfulness practices that reveal how to sense these subtle shifts and respond with clarity and discipline. You will see how stillness and reflection transform fear into guidance and hesitation into action. This is knowledge passed down through generations, rarely spoken of, yet its truth resonates in every mindful breath. By the end of this video, you will understand how divine anger can become a mirror, reflecting the parts of yourself that require attention, correction, and realignment. You will learn practical ways to recognize these signals and to restore harmony within your mind, body, and spirit. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. Here, we explore the deep truths of the spirit, the quiet power of discipline, and the path of mastery that transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. Subscribe now and join us, for every insight shared here could change the direction of your life if you are ready to see it. The time to listen is now, before the whispers of warning become a roar that cannot be ignored. The mind is a battlefield, silent yet relentless, where unseen conflicts shape every action and thought. True mastery begins not with strength, but with observation. The Shaolin masters teach that before any correction can occur, one must first witness oneself with honesty. Every restless thought, every flicker of impatience, every hidden desire must be seen as it is without judgment. Only then can the path to alignment become clear. Each morning the body may rise, but the spirit can remain tangled in patterns of fear, doubt, or distraction. Mindful observation is the key that untangles these knots. When you sit in stillness and watch the flow of your mind, you begin to notice the subtle ways inner chaos manifests, a sharp word spoken in haste, a resentment held silently, a fear disguised as hesitation. These small imbalances are the seeds of greater turmoil if left unexamined. Shaolin practice calls for a disciplined attention to the present moment, not as an intellectual exercise, but as a living awareness. Every breath, every heartbeat, every glance inward becomes a mirror. Reflection is not passive. It is the active art of seeing clearly what others overlook. Thoughts, emotions, and actions are threads woven together, and when one thread is misaligned, the whole pattern distorts. By observing without distraction, without clinging, you cultivate insight. You begin to recognize the patterns that shape your life. Small moments of clarity compound, guiding decisions, refining actions, and revealing the hidden currents of your own energy. This awareness does not come once and remain. It must be practiced, returned to, and deepened each day. The Shaolin way teaches that mastery is not granted. It is earned through the unwavering attention to oneself, a quiet vigilance that turns reflection into transformation. In the midst of chaos, the world demands movement, noise, and reaction, yet the greatest strength often lies in stillness. Shaolin masters have long understood that the body may act, but the mind must first settle. When the mind is quiet, the spirit becomes sensitive to currents unseen, to subtle shifts that signal the direction of life itself. In turmoil, stillness is not inaction, it is the discipline of presence, the art of listening beyond the clamor. Divine messages rarely arrive as thunderclaps. They are whispers carried in the spaces between thoughts, in the pause before a choice, in the quiet tension that precedes change. Only those who slow their breath and calm their hearts can perceive these signals. Rushing, reacting, and filling every silence with noise blinds one to guidance that is already within reach. Stillness sharpens perception, revealing patterns that would otherwise pass unnoticed, and illuminates the path through uncertainty. Meditation becomes the vessel for this clarity. In the simple act of sitting, of returning again and again to the rhythm of the breath, the mind learns to release distraction and settle into observation. Each inhalation grounds awareness, each exhalation dissolves tension. Thoughts may rise, but they are watched, not followed. In this sacred pause, the body, the mind, and the spirit align. Energy, once scattered, flows in harmony. Through consistent practice, stillness transforms into insight. One begins to sense the unseen currents that shape circumstances, the subtle nudges that redirect life toward balance. Turmoil no longer dictates reaction, it becomes a teacher, a mirror reflecting the state of the inner world. In this silence, mastery is born, not from force, but from the quiet discipline to remain present, aware and receptive to the guidance that has always been waiting to be heard. Every action leaves a trace, a subtle mark on the fabric of life that may not be seen immediately but grows quietly over time. In the teachings of the ancients, this is the principle of cause and effect, a law as natural as the rising sun. Every word spoken, every choice made, every thought carried with intention or neglect sets a ripple into motion. These ripples, though small at first, gather strength, shaping the circumstances of the future. Divine guidance often arrives as a gentle nudge, a hint toward the path of balance and integrity. Ignoring it is not merely defiance, it is planting seeds of misalignment that will inevitably bear fruit. What seems insignificant, a fleeting irritation, a moment of dishonesty, a neglected responsibility, can grow into a challenge that tests the mind, the spirit, and the body in ways unforeseen. Karma does not judge in haste, but it acts without error. The universe responds to patterns, and every misalignment has its echo. True mastery begins with awareness of these ripples. The disciplined mind pauses before acting, considers the unseen consequences, and weighs the deeper impact of choices. Reflection becomes a shield against unintended harm, a guide toward decisions that honor both self and the greater whole. Through mindful awareness, even small actions can be transformed into instruments of harmony rather than seeds of discord. The Shaolin path teaches patience, observation, and the courage to act with clarity. It reminds us that mastery is not about controlling life, but understanding the threads we weave and tending them with care. By recognizing the law of cause and effect, the mind learns humility, the heart learns responsibility, and the spirit learns alignment. In this awareness, every choice becomes an opportunity to cultivate balance, to move in harmony with the subtle currents of destiny, and to honor the guidance that has always been quietly present. The body carries the echoes of the mind, and the mind carries the echoes of the spirit. When imbalance arises, when subtle unrest grows into tension, it is a signal that purification is needed. In the Shaolin tradition, cleansing is not punishment, it is restoration. The practice of inner purification clears the dust from the mind, washes away the weight of unresolved emotion, and restores harmony to the body and spirit. Divine anger often mirrors this need. It is not wrath aimed at destruction, but a reflection of the misalignment within ourselves. When thoughts become chaotic, when desires cloud clarity, or when actions stray from integrity, a subtle warning emerges. The purpose is not fear, but guidance. Recognizing this, one can respond with discipline, transforming the reflection of discord into a path of renewal. Shaolin teachings offer practices that cultivate this restoration. Mindful breathing centers the mind, drawing attention away from distraction and back to the steady rhythm of life itself. Silent reflection becomes a mirror, revealing patterns and habits that require adjustment. Gratitude opens the heart, dissolving attachment to what is fleeting and reinforcing connection to what is true. Through these practices, the mind grows lighter, the spirit steadier, and the body more attuned to its natural flow. Purification is a daily act, a gentle but persistent discipline. It is found in the quiet moments of self-observation, in the pauses between breath and thought, in the choices made to align with truth rather than impulse. Each practice, no matter how small, strengthens the connection to guidance and restores balance where it has been lost. In this deliberate care, mastery emerges, not from force, but from the patient cultivation of inner clarity, resilience, and harmony. Through purification, the whispers of warning transform into insight, and the tension of misalignment becomes the foundation for conscious growth. True transformation is rarely born from bursts of effort or sudden revelations. The spirit does not bend to intensity alone, it is shaped by patience, repetition, and steady attention. Shaolin masters have long understood that lasting growth emerges not from dramatic gestures, but from the quiet, disciplined cultivation of mind, body, and heart. Each small action, repeated with intention, becomes a thread woven into the fabric of mastery. Many seek rapid results, hoping a single moment of willpower can reshape their inner world. Yet without consistency, deeper patterns remain untouched. Old habits, subtle attachments, and hidden fears persist, quietly guiding choices and undermining progress. Sudden effort may produce surface change, but the foundation of the self, the unseen structures of thought, emotion, and energy, requires time to adjust, align, and strengthen. The Shaolin path teaches a different rhythm, small, deliberate practices carried out each day, a single mindful breath in the morning, a moment of reflection at noon, a quiet posture held in stillness at night. These are not trivial acts, they are repetitions that train attention, refine energy, and cultivate resilience. Over weeks and months, these seemingly minor acts accumulate, transforming patterns that once felt immutable. Consistency also shapes the mind itself, teaching patience, humility, and vigilance. Discipline becomes less about obligation and more about alignment with truth. Each step taken faithfully strengthens the capacity to act with clarity, even when challenges arise. Through this approach, progress is natural, deep, and lasting. Spiritual growth is a journey measured not by dramatic leaps, but by the quiet accumulation of effort. Each day offers an opportunity to refine, correct, and strengthen. In time, small actions become powerful currents, moving the life forward with purpose and precision, revealing that mastery is less about intensity and more about the unwavering commitment to walk the path, step by careful step. There are corners of the mind that remain shadowed, areas where habits, fears, and desires quietly shape life without notice. These blind spots often prevent recognition of guidance, for divine warnings are subtle and the heart blinded by pride or distraction cannot perceive them. Many stumble not because the path is unclear, but because they cannot see themselves as they truly are. The first step is acknowledgement. Reflection reveals patterns that repeat, decisions that lead to imbalance, attachments that drain energy, and impulses that betray deeper values. These are not faults to punish oneself over, but signals pointing to where attention is needed. Journaling, silent contemplation, and mindful observation of daily choices can illuminate these patterns, bringing clarity to what was once invisible. Recurring mistakes are teachers in disguise. Each misstep offers insight into the areas of the self that remain unexamined. Rather than resisting or hiding from these truths, approaching them with humility transforms them into guidance. Shaolin wisdom emphasizes that humility is not weakness, it is the gateway to perception. The quiet mind, free from ego's insistence, can see the subtle ripples of imbalance and respond with discernment. Attachments, whether to desires, fears, or outdated identities, create distortion. Recognizing them is an act of courage, for it requires facing discomfort and accepting responsibility. Yet through this discipline, the self becomes more transparent, energy flows more freely, and alignment with higher guidance becomes possible. True mastery begins when blind spots are no longer ignored. Awareness grows, humility deepens, and the mind becomes capable of perceiving both the inner and outer currents that shape life. In this space, divine warnings are no longer threats or mysteries, they become mirrors, reflecting the work yet to be done and offering the opportunity for conscious transformation step by step. Fear is often misunderstood, seen as a warning to retreat, a sign of weakness or a force to resist. Yet in the Shaolin tradition, Fear is neither enemy nor punishment. It is a signal, a reflection of the inner world, and a compass pointing toward areas that require attention. Divine anger, like fear, is not meant to harm. It is meant to awaken. It calls the mind and spirit to observe, to pause, and to examine the currents beneath everyday life. When fear arises, it is an invitation to look inward. What is stirring beneath the surface? What patterns, attachments, or neglected truths does it reveal? Instead of avoiding discomfort, the path of mastery teaches one to sit with it, to observe it without judgment. Each pulse of concern becomes a guide, directing attention to hidden misalignments that might otherwise remain unnoticed. Shaolin wisdom shows that emotions are not obstacles, they are tools. Anger, anxiety, or fear carry information about the state of the mind and the flow of energy. When approached with calm awareness, they illuminate the boundaries between impulse and intention, revealing where discipline and reflection are needed. Learning to transform fear into guidance strengthens not only the mind but the spirit, cultivating resilience, clarity, and discernment. Through regular practice, the cycle changes. Fear no longer triggers reaction or panic. Instead, it becomes a mirror, reflecting the inner landscape, offering insight and guiding the choices that align life with truth. In this way, divine signals are not distant threats, but immediate teachers. By embracing fear as a tool, rather than resisting it, mastery deepens. The mind learns to move with precision, the heart learns to act with clarity, and the spirit grows strong enough to meet life with presence, balance, and unwavering awareness. Life has a current, subtle and persistent, guiding those who are willing to move with it. Divine messages often arrive not as commands, but as gentle nudges, redirecting attention toward the path of true purpose. When followed, they bring harmony. When ignored, they create friction within the mind and heart, a quiet unrest that clouds judgment and drains energy. Misalignment between inner intention and outer action disrupts the natural flow, and even small deviations can ripple through life, creating tension, confusion, and dissatisfaction. The Shaolin Way teaches that alignment is cultivated, not stumbled upon. It begins with conscious attention to intention. Each morning, pause and set a clear purpose for the day, aligning decisions with values and long-term goals. This simple act channels energy toward meaningful action and reduces the influence of distraction and impulse. Mindful planning follows naturally, organizing thoughts and tasks in harmony with that purpose. Small steps, chosen deliberately, accumulate into momentum that carries one steadily forward. Honest self-inquiry is equally essential. At the close of each day, reflection uncovers moments where actions diverged from intention, revealing misalignments before they take root. This practice is not for self-judgment, but for clarity, for understanding how to adjust and recalibrate. Through this cycle of conscious beginning, mindful action, and reflective correction, the mind becomes increasingly attuned to its own rhythms, and the heart learns to recognize the quiet signals guiding it toward fulfillment. Over time, alignment transforms perception. Choices feel lighter, energy flows more freely, and even challenges become lessons rather than obstacles. Inner friction diminishes, replaced by clarity, purpose, and a steady connection to guidance that has always been present. Through this deliberate practice, life begins to move with intention, each action resonating in harmony with the greater currents of destiny, revealing the subtle but profound power of walking in alignment with true purpose. No one walks the path of mastery alone. The Shaolin tradition has long emphasized the power of shared growth. The understanding that a community of mindful practitioners strengthens each individual's awareness. In the presence of others who seek clarity, discipline, and alignment, subtle lessons become visible, blind spots are revealed, and the quiet pull of guidance is reinforced. The collective vigilance of a dedicated community mirrors one's own journey, reflecting both progress and areas that require attention. Mentors, peers, and spiritual guides serve as essential anchors. Their presence provides accountability, ensuring that daily practices do not falter and that intentions remain aligned with purpose. Through observation, guidance, and shared reflection, these relationships illuminate paths that might otherwise remain obscured, offering perspective and wisdom drawn from experience. They transform learning into a dynamic exchange where insight grows not just from personal struggle but from the cumulative awareness of many. Yet the value of community does not diminish the power of solitude. Shaolin teachings respect the necessity of inward reflection, yet caution that isolation without wisdom can amplify misalignment. Left unchecked, the mind may indulge in unchecked patterns, attachment, or distortion, and subtle misalignments can grow unnoticed. Balanced wisely, solitude becomes a space for inner cultivation, while connection becomes a mirror for alignment and growth. The path of mastery moves between these two poles, inward focus and outward engagement. Each informs the other, strengthening resilience, clarity, and integrity. Through mindful participation in a supportive community, the practitioner learns humility, discernment, and the subtle art of shared vigilance. Guidance becomes tangible, progress measurable, and the journey of transformation enriched. The quiet discipline of self, supported by the reflection of others, reveals that mastery is not merely personal, it is woven into the web of relationships, observation, and shared awakening that surrounds every step forward. Divine anger, though unsettling, is never eternal. It is not a sentence, but a signal, a call to notice, to reflect, and to correct the course of the self. Like a teacher who raises a hand to guide rather than strike, these moments of tension exist to illuminate what has been overlooked, to reveal the misalignments that quietly shape thought, word, and action. The power lies not in fear, but in the recognition that correction is possible and that change begins with awareness. Acknowledging mistakes is the first step toward this transformation. When the mind accepts responsibility, the heart opens to guidance and the spirit becomes receptive to grace. Each misstep carries the seed of insight, each error a chance to refine the self. The Shaolin path teaches that humility is not weakness, but the gateway to true strength. To bend before understanding is to align with the currents of life rather than resist them. It is through this conscious surrender that energy is restored, patterns are shifted, and the unseen friction within begins to dissolve. Redemption is cultivated through deliberate action, silent reflection, mindful correction, and consistent alignment with truth create a field where grace naturally flows. Strength grows quietly in these practices, not as a display of power, but as the steady fortification of the mind, body, and spirit. Every choice made with awareness becomes a brick in the foundation of renewal, every act of humility a step toward deeper harmony. The quiet power of redemption teaches that no state is fixed and no failure permanent. Each acknowledgement of misalignment is an invitation to rise, to refine, and to walk with greater clarity. Through humility, conscious action, and the willingness to learn from divine guidance, transformation unfolds, not as a sudden strike, but as the gentle, enduring shaping of a life aligned with purpose, wisdom, and inner mastery. The path forward is simple in principle, though profound in practice. Awareness, stillness, discipline, and alignment are the pillars that guide the mind, body, and spirit toward harmony. Divine anger is not a punishment. It is a mirror, reflecting the places within that require attention, humility, and care. By observing ourselves with honesty, embracing stillness in moments of turmoil, cultivating daily discipline, and aligning actions with purpose, we transform these reflections into guidance. Each small step, each conscious choice, moves us closer to balance and clarity. The message is clear. The power to restore harmony lies not in fear, but in deliberate mindful action. Take this lesson into your daily life. Pause when tension arises. Reflect on your patterns, your attachments, and your intentions. Act with awareness and integrity and allow each moment to become an opportunity to realign with truth. Through this practice, what once seemed like warning becomes insight, and what once felt like pressure transforms into the quiet strength of mastery. May these teachings inspire patience, clarity, and conscious growth in every aspect of your life. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If you found value in this message, subscribe to Shaolin Soulfire and continue walking the path of inner mastery with us. Every step taken with awareness brings peace, purpose, and alignment closer to your life.